Hello, geeks and gamers. Matt Lemke here with Through Gamer Goggles, and today I'm going to bring you a flip through on Doctor Who. And this particular one is the anniversary limited edition rulebook for Adventures in Time and Space. I have never done a Cubicle 7 flip through or review on any of the games that they do, and I have to admit I'm pretty excited about this one. I am a new Doctor Who fan. Show's been out for, I don't know, longer than I've probably been alive, maybe. I'm not going to say I'm old or young with that statement, but I started watching Doctor Who and I became a fan, and I found out about a role-playing game, so I wanted to get involved a little bit more. So what this book is not going to include is pretty much anything on the rules. When I saw this book at Origins, I was like, wow, I'm pretty amazed. They did a smashing job, I think. I mean, the art alone in this book is good enough for any collector to have. So, with that being said, it's a flip through, and we're going to flip through some things. And as I see things that catch my eye, that I've already looked at by starting to read the rules a little bit, I'm going to go ahead and chat about them. Like the very first chapter, I mean, again, as you can see, the art is absolutely phenomenal. The very first chapter is the trip of a lifetime, and basically what that does is it gives you a brief overview of Doctor Who, what a role-playing game is, characters, game master, game session, and then it starts to get into a little bit more detail about the basics and how to use the book, which are some important things about that, like, for example, page references. Like, for example, if it says you see page 27 of, and then they have the bold, the Time Traveler's Companion, then the rule can be found on that page of that supplemental booklet. I'll zoom in just a hair. Now, you go through the book, and, again, we're back to the Doctor and how it applies to role-playing, and they talk a little bit about there, and then they move into an example of gameplay. But again, we come back to some great art. And this one's travelers this chapter is about travelers in the fourth dimension. And again, the two-page foldouts in this book are just amazing. And this book, section of the book is pretty much about being the Doctor's companion. And it goes through, again, focusing on the art, and then talks about different, well, here, let's back up. Talks about who they are, the attributes they have, the types of different awareness, and it breaks down what awareness is and stuff like that for character creation. And then it goes into a list of traits that you can effectively purchase. That's what I'm going to say for now, because again, I haven't played or made my own character yet. So again, this flip through is not about any of that. It's pretty much to give you a bird's eye view of the rule book. Now, there are certain things that I do know that are pretty phenomenal about this book that haven't been done before, and if I can find it, there's a overview on time and space in here that is looking like it's pretty phenomenal. I started to read it, and I'm pretty intrigued because it is basically an application of the Doctor Who universe applied to role-playing games, which they did a good job with. Again, the art is just astounding. Another great two-pager. And so I don't waste and bore all your time, we're going to start flipping through a little bit faster, and we're going to focus on a couple of the key elements that I found to be, well, you know what, I'm going to cheat. I'm going to use the table of contents. Big ball of timey-wimey stuff. And this is the overview I was talking about. They go through this big ball of timey-wimey stuff, and they use it, well, just like they do in the TV show. Again, another great two-pager. They start by talking about time travel. They talk about the paradox. Here, I'm going to zoom in here. just to make sure you guys can see what I'm talking about. Timey-wimey to the rescue. So they talk about time and space being manipulated. They talk about the Reapers, the Spurs, the Blinovich limitation effect. Talk about changing time, ripples and nexus points, predestination. Near and far, sideways in time. I mean, the things they talk about, some of the stuff I haven't even gotten into yet in the show, but then they start to finish it up by going over the Time Lord, physiology, and then they start moving into like regeneration. They got this whole big subsection on regeneration, radiation and the Time Lords, respiratory bypass system. So they did a really good job. And then they talk about the TARDIS, and they talk about how it's bigger on the inside, how it travels the vortex. They have a lot on the TARDIS. They have TARDIS history, model types, systems, and different abilities. And they just go on and on. Like, it talks about the Eye of Harmony, nesting, all this really cool stuff that the TARDIS is capable of. They have stats for the TARDIS, which I'm guessing they probably have had in the past. And then they have a section that's relatively short on game mastering the TARDIS. And then the next chapter after that is all the different strange creatures, and it breaks down the different stats on Cybermen, different types of Cybermen they've had, the Daleks, physiologies of the Dalek. They give you different stats for certain types of Daleks. They give you the great intelligence. Ice Warriors, which I don't think I'm far enough in the show to know about yet, so I'm not going to read it and spoil it for myself. One cool thing that they do towards the back is, well, more than one cool thing. Let me see here. We're going to jump around here a little bit. In the back, they have different stats pre-made for you to jump right in and play with. For example, Sarah Jane Smith. But the one that was brought to my attention is, well, they've got the different doctors. Well, I don't know if they have them all, because, again, I'm still new to the show. But they've got the 11th, the 10th, and the War Doctor, which it's my understanding is the first time he's ever been featured in one of their rule books. So that's pretty exciting. And for some people, I guess, the War Doctor's pretty popular. So that would be worth this book just for him alone. And then one of the other key components to this book, at least in my opinion from the little bit of research I've done, is I wrote the page. Oh, here. It's in chapter 3. Starts on page 69 and goes all the way to like 116. So it's a pretty important chapter. It's a good bit of the book. And it's I Walk in Eternity is the chapter. It talks about running the game, intense difficulty, all that stuff. But as you get towards the back of the chapter, it starts to change a little bit, and you get into, where is it? Oh, I didn't go far enough. Well, there's story point guidelines and things like that too in here. But what I wanted to chat about a little bit was, well, they talk about experience and letting your characters grow. But boys and their toys. This is basically where they include gadget creation rules, which they work pretty simple. There's different levels of creation. There's minor gadgets, major gadgets, special gadgets. And what they do is, like for example, a minor gadget, Costs 1 story point and can hold a single minor trait. They may hold a major trait for 2 minor, but must also take a bad trait. So then what you can do is you can turn the page or a couple pages, and you get into the different gadget traits, and then you can select any of the traits that would fit that category to make your gadget, which I thought was really cool. Come up with your own version of a sonic screwdriver. I mean, obviously it wouldn't be a sonic screwdriver anymore, but you get the idea. And in the back they have a guide to running adventures, which is, the song is ending, but the story never ends, and that's on page 205 of the book. Which, yeah, this is something that's pretty normal and recurring in a lot of RPGs. They have a thing on telling the story. But what I like to point out about this is the story, the role-playing event that is Doctor Who is truly about the story. So many adventures, so many games that are fantasy RPG based keep going, and what they do is they allow combat to supersede story. And Doctor Who is really kind of the opposite approach to that. So what they're trying to do here is teach you how to create stories that avoid action and reward the players for not having that kind of physical violence and action in the game. Sometimes, you're not going to be able to get around it just because of the way things happen. But that's basically what this is. And it follows the same basic principle. The beginning is the setup and the investigation. Middle has rising action and running. You run a lot. Third is the climax, and the fourth is aftermath. So they give you a basic idea. And then they go in a little bit and they say finished adventure. Well, you can, how to tie in 2 and 3 part stories, how to create cliffhangers so your players want to play more, creating different story parts, points in part 2 of a 3-part act, and things like that. And then there's character stories. They go into a lot of information on different types of things. Now, where I was going with this is, if you're a writer, you can apply this to stories that you write yourself. Sometimes little guides like this, even though they're for a game, they help. And then they have different seeds and ideas that go on for quite a few different pages for you to introduce your players to. So, that is my flip through on Doctor Who Adventures in Time and Space, the limited edition book that I want to say it's not available yet, but it probably is coming out it'll probably be out by the time you see this flip through. Thanks for watching. This is Matt Lemke with Your Gamer Goggles, gamer-goggles.com. Please follow us on Facebook, like us on Twitter. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter. That'll keep you up to date with things we're doing at conventions, the reviews we do, previews, and things like that. By the way, we're currently running Kickstarter for Gen Con. Please check it out. Have a good day.